Hi, my name is Yasu, and I do Hitorigoto in my channel, which means it's a Japanese word and it means talking to myself. So today I want to talk about more like I want to answer the question that's given to me about depression treatment. And I'm going to answer the questions based on my personal experience. And hopefully, this would make sense for some people, and hopefully, it would make sense for other people. But in both way or in any ways, I'm hoping to become a little bit helpful in a way that anyone who wants to have that kind of information to make decisions, hopefully I can help in some ways. So the question is, I'm suffering from the side effect from the antidepressant that I'm taking. Should I take a medical leave to focus on my treatment, or should I do treatment and then still I work? What do you think? That's the questions. And then before I answer the questions, for those people who really don't know me, I live in Japan and I suffered from depression and also sleep disorder and other medical conditions almost 3 years ago. And in terms of the depression, I have finished my depression treatment successfully. I don't take antidepressant anymore. The one that I took was Effexor. I was on the medication for like 1 year and then probably 10 months. I successfully finished tapering off, which was really awful and then not easy to do. But with many helps and everything, I managed to do so. And in terms of the sleep issues, it was a long journey. I still take sleeping pill, but I'm coming down to only one pill. And soon, I think I'm gonna stop taking it. I'm gonna stop taking it. And of course, I'm gonna suffer from the withdrawal symptoms, but hopefully, I can finish tapering off the sleeping pill successfully as well. And I've been making a lot of videos about my journey with my depression treatment and sleep treatment and so on. So the answer that I'm going to give is based on what I went through personally. So whether you should take a medical leave while you're doing the depression treatment and there's a side effect, and then if you actually continue your depression treatment, eventually you're gonna start reducing the meds, and also you're gonna stop taking it. And when that happens, most likely you're gonna suffer from withdrawal symptoms as well. So combine everything. My answer is, if that's possible, that you can take a medical leave. You don't really have to work. Just focusing on your health and your treatment, I recommend you to do so, because depression, it's a very horrible medical condition, and it's really not easy to deal with or contain the symptoms or even recover from. It takes so many years to do so. It takes so many resources to do so, and it requires complete change in terms of your lifestyle and in everything, which really destroys people's lives as well as the lives of people who love you. So if you can really focus on your treatment solely, then that would be really better, because dealing with the condition is already too much. And if you work, and most likely you're gonna get stress and other environmental factors can occur from your work, it's just gonna keep affecting your treatment, your conditions, and then your situation fluctuates. That would confuse you. That would suffer you. That would suffer you, and it becomes much a lot harder for you to focus on your treatment, and it's harder to maintain the good conditions to go through the entire recovery phase and everything. So, if possible, I recommend you to do so. But for most of people, that's not realistic, because we need to work. That's because we feel like, how do I say, I don't think depression will really happen. I never thought that depression would actually happen to me. If I take a leave now, that's gonna make me look weaker. What's gonna happen to my career, and what's gonna happen to my life, future, and everything. And then people keep just going, and you might feel keep going as well. Maybe that's why you gave me the question. And I was feeling the same way, but 2 months after I started to take Effexor and feeling the effectiveness and everything, but still my condition was very unstable. I had to, I had no choice to but listen to my doctor, which I didn't listen initially, and who that puts me in the worst situations, which was, he was simply telling me to just take a leave. You're gonna get depressed. You're not there yet, but you're going to if you keep going. So I'm gonna write a letter. You can just submit it to your company, and then you should take a medical leave. And then back then, my condition was like sometimes good, sometimes bad, and I could still sleep, but something felt really weird. I didn't know what I was feeling. I couldn't figure out what my thoughts are. It's almost like I become numb to my feelings and emotions and everything. So when I reached out my doctor, he was telling me that you're not depressed yet, but you're going to if you keep going. So just stop working, leave a medical leave, and just stay away from everything. But I didn't listen. I thought that I could manage it, and then a month later, like I had a really bad breakdown. I developed insomnia for the first time ever in my entire life. It kept happening. I didn't know what to do. My emotion was like all over. It was really bad. So this time, when he was telling me to take a medical leave, I listened. And what happened was something that I didn't expect, but also kind of discussed online, that when people are going through depression and then take a medical leave, instead of feeling better, they would most likely tend to feel a lot worse. Like they would feel completely crushed, which actually happened to me. I read that could happen online, but I was thinking that, oh, it's not gonna happen to me, but I was really wrong. So I took a month off in total. It's not long, but I felt so lost. kept feeling really bad, but sometimes I feel okay because of the medication, but I didn't feel any energy or anything like that. It's very hard for me to concentrate, focus. It's just too much. So in the entire 1 month, like the whole summer, I didn't go out, and I tried to get my sleep back, but it's really not working, like sleeping medications and everything. So it was really, really tough. And doing nothing but keep suffering psychologically, and everything was completely off balance. I was lost. I didn't even know what was happening to me. Kept questioning that what's going on with me. But looking back, that's what depression would feel like. Complete mess, panic mode, feeling low, sometimes okay, and the medication is very strong. It's just so many things happened internally, and it now didn't have to work. It affected me negatively. But for me, while I was suffering, it made me realize that I am really, really messed up. I don't know what's going on with me. It never happened anything like this to me, but I feel so low. I'm so sick, so imbalanced. I feel so lost. I feel no energy. I'm really, really messed up. And then that's when I just simply decided I'm just going to keep listening to my doctors and try to find a way, my way to get better. And I kept stick I decided to stick with my new routine from that summer, which is no more social life. So after a month, I started working. Luckily, I can work remotely, but no social life. It's just simply too much for me to see people, meet people, hang out with people, talking to them, listening to them, even watching them, seeing them. Like those visual information is already too much. And a lot of my friends and people are like giving me messages and everything that what's going on, are you okay? But it's really, it took a lot out of me to read and then think about how to reply. It's just simply too much work. So at some point, I completely stopped replying to anyone. So my life became like afterwards, after the 1 month break, work, do nothing, kind of hoping that I can sleep tonight. And regardless, I go to bed like 10 or 10:30, and then struggling like why this pill doesn't work, what's going on with me. It's just so tiring, it's just so uncomfortable. And then 6 or 7 a.m. I woke up, even though I didn't really sleep. And I keep that lifestyle almost like even now in general. I finished the treatment already, so I don't really stick with that much. However, I consider sleep so important to me that I usually go to bed still like 10:30, and I only see friends like once or twice a month, but still much better now because now I engage in the CrossFit like twice a week, and also I do weight training with my personal trainer like twice a week. So I become so active in terms of the physical activities and so on, which really shows that I am becoming much healthier now. But back then I really couldn't do anything. So even though I'm telling you that if taking a medical leave or even like stop working and focusing on your treatment, if that's the option, I recommend you to do so. But if you're gonna do it for the first time after you start dealing with your medical depressions and everything, I think most likely you would actually feel worse at first. But after a while, you're gonna actually get a lot better because instead of dealing with your work, instead of dealing with the stress from the work, you can focus on your health. But depression treatment is a long, it's a very time consuming, energy consuming, and also life changing or life destroying thing. For me, I still go to see a doctor like once a month for my sleep medications and everything, and most likely I can finish doing so in the next few months. And if I do that successfully, that means it would take 3 years for me to finish everything. 3 years. It's really, really long. And in constant battle with myself. It's a very lonely journey to go through. And even a lot of people want to help you, but unfortunately, there is really nothing they can do for you. And if you're feeling so low, really suffering from the depressions, and when you see your friends and the people whom you love trying to help you, you'd probably feel like really annoying. You have no idea how much suffering I have right now. You don't even know how to help me. If you can help me, just take away from my depressions. Let me help to find a way to sleep. But there's nothing they can do. And that's not their fault. And it's only not your fault that you get depression. But life is unfair. Things happen to you and things happened to me. So I had to deal with it. And then I'm hoping that you would actually deal with it as well. It's not easy things to do, frankly speaking. And since, as I said, it's a long journey, it takes longer, like it takes years. Just focusing on your treatment for the years, 2 3 years, 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years, not working, almost no one can do that. Unfortunately, in this world and in society, at least in Japan, people need to work and pay bill and everything, and then do the treatment. So, looking back, my recommendation to people is that um, at the early months, when people start doing the treatment, I recommend people to take medical leave so that they can just sort it out everything. But that time they would actually feel a lot worse. But still, that would be a good timing to sort it out. And even though you wouldn't be in good situations to sort it out anything but suffering, though. Yeah. But once your medication your body get used to your medications, and then you can have your symptoms and conditions under control. Eventually you will reach the point where like you don't really do you don't really do the treatment. Like you're not really dealing with like depressions. Taking medications becomes so routine to the point like taking medication is like taking a supplement. And then when that happens, your next fight it's gonna begin, which is when you start reducing your medications, most likely you're gonna suffer from the withdrawal symptoms. That's gonna surprise you because by the time you're ready to start reducing your medications, you feel very stabilized for a long time. So you kind of forget that how you how how it feel like to deal with side effects. And the side effect and visual symptoms are a little bit different, but either way, it's kind of same because that makes you feel very uncomfortable. And when you reduce in it, it hits you, and you feel uncomfortable, start suffering from the visual symptoms, and then you can start feeling unstabilized internally. Something is off. And in my case, it disturbed my sleep pattern, which was something that I was so afraid of. But usually 2 weeks, 3 weeks, your body would get used to it. So not really big deal, but if you can take a leave, that's the time that I recommend you to take a medical leave, so that when you suffer from withdrawal symptoms, you don't have to worry about your work. You can focus on your health. And then in my case, the worst withdrawal symptoms that happened to me is when I stopped taking Effexor completely. It was really crazy. It's too much suffering, and it destroyed my sleep pattern again. And even I took a stronger sleeping pill after I reduced and changed it. But still, it didn't really work in a way that made me feel comfortable. So it was so much suffering, too much uncomfortableness, and then it just didn't stop for like a month. It lasted nearly 6 months, and then in the first 3 months, it's just so uncomfortable, so painful. Everything is completely off balanced. And then when I was suffering from that, I realized why it's so easy for people to do rehabs. So those stages, if you can take a medical leave or sick leave to just lay low, I recommend you to do so. But if you can only take a sick leaves once or twice in the 2 or 3 years, then I recommend you to take it. The first one is when you start doing your depression treatment with your antidepressant, and then the second one is when you stop taking your antidepressant completely. so that you can focus on getting through withdrawal symptoms, which you're gonna really need it. But once again, if you don't have to work and then solely focusing on your work and everything, no, yes, you don't have to work and solely focusing on your recovery and treatment, that's the best way. That's the best way だね。And if you have no choice but working and then also doing the treatment, my recommendation is to minimize your lifestyle so that you can focus on your recovery and the treatment once you finish work. But that's gonna make you lonely. That's gonna isolate you from any community that you are in and build up. And you're gonna feel so lonely. And when it comes to depression, loneliness amplifies the condition, the people who suffer and deal with it. And in my case, I'm not sure I ever felt lonely even though I isolated myself from everything. It was effective for me. It saved me from a lot of things. I even enjoyed. But that's probably because that's who I am. And that's also probably I was trying something different, which is making YouTube video, for example, and then just keep uploading. And it creates a little bit in an active world for me. So while I was suffering from depressions, dealing with my depression treatment, but time to time I make videos and then post it, and some people made a comments and I replied, and I make a video to reply to the questions. That's the communication that I needed back then, because it was really impossible for me to physically engage any communications with people, including my friends and the people whom I'm really close to, because talking to them, seeing them, carrying the conversation with them is just too much work. And even though I was having a good time, still it's really tiring. Regardless, it's a good time or it's not a good time. So I ended up minimizing in my lifestyle, changing my lifestyle completely, isolated myself from everything, which worked in my favor. If I only I'm looking at where I stand right now, because now I don't have to worry about depressions, I don't take any depressants, and I'm nearly finishing my sleep treatment as well. I sleep 7 hours, yeah, 7 hours and 30 minutes, so like 8 hours. It's a good sleep, amazing sleep, which I never thought that I could get it back, but now I have it. But isolating yourself when you're in this kind of situation really affect you negatively, and I don't recommend you to do so. But at the same time, I am contradicting myself here that you need to find ways to focus on yourself. It's not easy. So yeah, to go back to my questions, if possible, please take medical leave. If possible, just focus on your depression treatment if the situation allows you. But for most of people, that's not possible. So take leave when you really need it. And then based on my case, as I said, you need at least 2 leaves. One is when you start doing the depression treatment with the medications for the first time, because it's gonna affect you, it's gonna surprise you so many ways. And then when you stop taking them, because visual symptoms are so uncomfortable, you really need that leave to get used to it. Yeah. People shouldn't, anyone shouldn't get depression. Depression is a very scary condition. It really kills people. I'm really surprised still how I have managed to get through everything. I'm so surprised that I'm still alive, because I was so messed up, confused, too much suffering, too much pain, so uncomfortable. So if you're suffering, I can relate. And you can only do one at a time. It takes time. And hopefully you can find a way to get better. And if somehow people who don't, you're not suffering from depressions at all, and somehow watching this video, keep it that way. Please take care of your mental health. Always look after your health. Health comes first, because without good health, you cannot enjoy your life. And if you don't enjoy your life, then what's the meaning of life really? So please take care of yourself. Okay, thank you for watching. For now, じゃあね、バイバイ, and please take care.